Welcome back to fucking failing. So we picked up our coffee from Vibrant today, which is a really cute Philly coffee shop that has like really interesting flavors. That's my favorite thing about them. They're really tiny, so I don't always go because if I'm working from home, I'm looking for like a big space to go hang out in or something like that. But I will go to this place and then go spend time in the park because they have the coolest flavors. Like I got you the
Captain Crunch.
Ireland was late today. But I got you, the cinnamon toast crunch latte.
Yes.
Which you're liking because you like sugar.
And perfect.
Then I got the spicy orange mocha, which tastes like a Jaffa cake. Like if you're Irish or if you just like to go to Euro markets, like you'll see those a lot. It's like chocolate and spongy biscuit and then like orange in the center. And that's just literally exactly what this tastes like. So I'm so happy.
Are those like super sugary, would you say, or like tart?
They're like chocolatey and sweet for the most part. Like they are sugary, for sure. But it's not like eating like a piece of candy, you know?
Gotcha.
It's like somewhere in the middle. And then they always have really good treats too. I was really sad today because they didn't have, are you good?
Yes. Continue on.
Anyway, don't disrespect the small businesses.
It's great coffee.
No, they have really good treats. I was sad today because they typically have like a homemade Pop-Tart. Like literally like a gigantic homemade Pop-Tart. And it's like kind of like a half apple strudel, half Pop-Tart situation. I don't know. They're just like fucking delicious and gigantic. But they also always have vegan stuff. Like this blueberry tart thing that we got is vegan, which is super dope. And then this salty cookie is very like crunchy and like soft in the middle. Like, you know, like a perfect cookie, I guess it's a perfect cookie. Love that place. It's very cute and very tiny, and they're very creative.
Okay, so what have you been obsessing over lately?
I'm playing a new video game with Justin called It Takes Two.
Wait, is that the one where you like actually have to like work together?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I've seen about that.
All of the things you do are collaborative, and like it's supposed to be this like divorcing couple that's like relationship.
And do they turn into toys?
Yes.
I have played that before.
You have played it?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
I played it with Mark, and we were fighting the entire time. Tensions were high.
We're not a couple, by the way.
We are not together.
It was like collaborate, and you were like, no.
Yeah, didn't go super well.
Me and Justin's like sense of humor, like we do get on each other's nerves and stuff too, and then we do fight, and I'm like, do we sound like these people? They're getting divorced.
Game about us.
No, honestly, they're really mean to each other. Yeah. It's really sad. And there's like a child involved. Like, no, it's very traumatic.
They like turn into their kids like toys, and then they have to like figure out how to not be toys anymore, and then there's like a vacuum that they get sucked into, and that's all I really remember.
Yeah, that's the beginning.
Yep, because that's as far as we got.
It's actually getting a little bit difficult. But there's a lot of like toxic like videos that are like playing this game is just waiting for your girlfriend to catch up. On the one hand, I genuinely think they designed the game so that it like is challenging in the ways that they stereotypically would expect it to be challenging. Like the girl character ends up having to do a lot of the shooting.
Yes.
I hate shooting games. I hate being chased. I hate the sensation of being chased. Anytime that I have a nightmare, I am being chased.
Yeah.
Anytime I have a dream, it's typically a nightmare and I'm typically being chased. It's like, I hate that feeling. So, shooty games where you're running around hiding from people chasing you, like, I'm literally living out my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that a lot, and like, after we go to the gym, before we go to the gym, it's pretty fun. It's like kind of cathartic because we end up like having fun and working together. Like, the game is designed that way. I've also noticed that it's very designed for millennials, like, because it's like a couples game that you're supposed to spend time, and so typically I think that maybe the clientele or like the people that are marketing to are like a little bit older than us and maybe married. So there's a lot of references to like old video games, old shows, like old pop culture that like very specifically like late 80s to early 90s babies would identify with, and they're like just out of my age range. Yeah. So I'm starting to notice that about the game. But like, it's fun. It's nice to have a game we can play together. And we recently bought a Switch, so this is like, we're playing Overcooked too, and that is not as constructive an experience.
That's the one that I've definitely heard people like fighting about.
We've definitely, like, Justin gets very stressed. He gets like, and we've both worked in kitchens before, so there's that like hidden trauma down there, so he will really, like, his heart rate will be going up, he'll be getting very frustrated, and we can only play like 5 or 6 rounds before he's like, I need to stop. Like,
I have to walk away.
It's actually too much.
Oh god, yeah.
It's a very intense. Have you played?
No, I've seen like TikToks of like couples
Chaos.
talking about it and like getting so upset, fighting, stressed, like
it's not just couples. Like that's the thing too. It's not even just like that game, like It Takes
Yeah.
Two. Very specifically designed to make you collaborate in ways where like couples kind of like press on each other's
yeah, I
nerves
didn't know
or
that was a
whatever.
couples game. What the fuck, Mark? What was that?
And then like an Overcooked, I think is just meant to make you mad. Like I think it's supposed to unleash the kind of anger you feel when you're working a 10-hour shift as a waiter or a bar back or like whatever.
Mhm.
And it does, and it's like you have to communicate like so aggressively. Like you have to be serious. You cannot just casually play this game. It's like the basic premise. And I didn't know that going in, so my roommates and I would play it, and like we would, like it was bad. Like we would get into fights. We had to stop. We literally had to stop.
It was destroying our relationship.
It was destroying the family.
This game is tearing us apart, you guys.
What have you been obsessed with lately?
I've been on a big reading kick because so I've explained this to you before. Somebody one time said to me, they were like, do you ever think about how many books you'll be able to read in your lifetime or how many movies you'll be able to see in your lifetime? And I was like, no, but now I am. And so now, like, every time I read a book, I'm like, there are only so many books I can read in life before I'll die. And I get super existential. And so I've been on, like, a reading kick.
Sorry, say that again.
Existential. Wait. Do the peep.
Hello.
Hello. Existential? No.
The X and the T don't go next to each other.
Existential.
Ah.
Whoa.
Bellissima.
So I've been freaking out about it. So I've been back into reading lately. And
it's not helping.
No, it's not helping me build my book at
Whatever
all.
you think it's doing for you, it's not.
No, because here's the problem, is I was like, I want to get into fantasy books because I'm working towards getting to, like, Akatar and, like, Throne of Glass. And fourth one, A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Are we talking smut? Like, specifically?
Are they smut? Is there enough smut to consider it smut?
But is there a plot underneath the smut?
Too much plot.
Oh, we want smut.
It could just be smut, and I'd be fine with it. Because, so here's the thing, is I love a smutty book, because I grew up on, like, Wattpad. And...
What is Wattpad? Guys, okay, alright.
Everybody
calm down. Everybody calm down. I was a sheltered child. I was cable. We didn't have electronics.
Wattpad is the opposite of sheltered. It's too much internet access.
And there were occasions where I was exposed to certain things like Omegle, like going on that as a child. Like there were things that happened when I was at friends' houses, but I was very cut off from the world. So there were a lot of things that even if I did do them, I like did them late.
You could start Wattpad right now, because I could still go on Wattpad like today and I'd be perfectly fine with it. But Archive of Our Own is the better one. So they're both like platforms where people write fan fictions.
Oh yeah, okay, got it.
So I was reading like smutty fan fictions.
I probably stumbled upon it without like realizing.
12 years old.
Yes, because
Tumblr.
Yes, that's what
Tumblr was another place where you could find these smutty stories as well.
Yes, right. Yeah, definitely my first experiences with anything sexual were Tumblr.
Mine was probably Archive of Our Own, which is like I would say more like adult version of Wattpad.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was reading all of those. I was reading about men taking it up the ass at like 11 years old, and I was living for it and like reading like for 5 hours straight about this.
I want to say Slay Queen, but we're talking about an 11-year-old, so no.
Yeah, like knowing a little bit like way too much too soon.
I'm seeing people talk about that online a lot, like just like the opinions of people who were chronically online as children and being like, yeah, I thought somebody should have been doing like something, anything.
Yeah, so that's 1000% me, because I'm like, I was talking to like 40-year-old men on the internet as a child.
Yes, I think you had even more harrowing experiences than I did, but like any child on the internet is approached by predators, period. Like they are. You are adult people are. Like, the internet is a sea of literally billions of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you will be targeted at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and children are very naive.
I remember...
And the attention is nice.
See, I don't know if you had this because you were on Omegle, and people would be dark on Omegle, but it was only to a certain level. Because I was a chronically online child, took it a step further than Omegle. I started going on to, like, chat roulette, I think it was called. And then from there, I went into full-fledged chat rooms with, like, adults. And it would be on, like, camera, like, 13 years old. And it would be hundreds of people watching me. Like, you could see how many people were watching you, and I would just be getting private chat upon private chat upon private chat. 12, 13, so I'm like, I'm fucking famous on here. Like, not comprehending that it is, like, all of these, like, grown creeps watching me.
Yeah, you were, like, their ideal situation.
And there were definitely times, and I know I've talked with other people, and they've been like, oh, I had something similar. Yes. Not many people were in these chat rooms like I was, but they've had similar things where you would get a message from someone, and they would send you, like, your computer IP, and, like, say that they're gonna hack all of your stuff, and I'm on my family computer, and then I have to go to dinner. And I'm, like, eating in silence because I'm, like...
waiting for the SWAT team to, like, crash through the window.
I'm like, they're coming to my house.
Literally just some hacker, like, trying to put you in your place.
Some hacker being like, send me pictures of your boobs. And I'm like, they're gonna come get me. I was like, I'm so dead.
Oh my god. How did we even get to this topic from what we've been interested in lately?
We were talking about Wattpad, and we were talking about smut.
Yes.
Because I'm working my way up towards reading ACOTAR.
Let's get back to there.
So in doing so, I was like, I'm gonna dip my toes into the fairy tale, like, world.
Yeah.
So I've been reading a lot of, like, fairy tale based stories and, like, building up, because I'm pretty sure once you read, like, Fourth Wing, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and, like, whatever those other ones are, like, the iconic ones, like, you really have nowhere else to go from there. And I know that once I get there and I reach the end, I'm gonna be sad.
Okay, so my experience with smut as a, like, growing up, like, as a teenager was actually reading, like, historical fiction. Like, I wasn't into these, like, fantasy things the way that other people were, but I was really into reading historical fiction.
Like Cleopatra and Mark Antony?
Because I was a goddamn dork. No, not necessarily. It would be, like, American history, or people in, like, I don't know, industrial England, or, like, something like that. It was set in some time period of some significant history thing, and it was always making a comment about, like, what was going on in that period, and the things that were happening to the main character were always a comment on what was happening to a lot of different people, and, like, whatever, and I just, like, I've always loved that shit. I've always struggled with this. I've always struggled with, like, not being able to just read for enjoyment.
Yeah.
There always had to be something else going on.
That you were, like, learning from it?
Learning, gleaning. Like, there was no escapism.
Me learning about werewolves having sex.
I think my Twilight was the first time I was really doing that.
Okay, that's a perfect transition, because so the book that I've been reading to get into fantasy has been the series that is very clearly based on Twilight. Because it is about a vampire boyfriend. The cover looks exactly like Twilight covers. It's called Crave. And it's like Twilight meets reading. Like the Vampire Diaries meets like, yes, reading? This is what I'm reading. Meets like some sort of like almost like a Hogwarts kind of situation. It's young adult fiction. There's zero smut. Zero. But it's okay, because we're dipping our toes in, and we're transitioning, and I'm learning to accept when there's no smut in a book.
Like, just reading. Like,
just reading. Just reading hard. 600 pages where all they do is kiss.
Okay, that's, yeah. Okay.
What was even worse was I've been reading that series, but then I started another series.
Not a sled.
And that one was even worse, because I thought that they would at least get together at the end of the book. Nope, ends up takes 3 books, I think, for them to get together. Yeah. They didn't even kiss in this book.
This is my problem with anime.
An entire book and no kiss?
This is my problem with anime. This is my problem with, like, just the edging that these people
What am I supposed to do with that?
I don't know, like, who's writing these stories with, and is it intended this way? I think there's also, like, depending on what stories you're reading, there's cultural influences. There's like a million of, like, how people tell stories, how romance develops. Like, there's a million different reasons, but I always have this problem with anime, that it's so, like,
too slow burn.
It's so like.
And I think about that for like 20 pages, and I'm like, boring. Come on, get it together.
Take your pants off.
Boo!
Oh my fucking god.
Cock and balls. Like so bored, but I don't mind this book series as much. Even though there's absolutely no spice going on, I think it's because a part of my brain doesn't believe that. I've been told that there will be no spice in this like 6-part series.
Like, no, there literally has
I'm like,
to be.
they're just keeping it from me. They're waiting to surprise me. I know it'll show up eventually, but yeah.
You're also just like living some of your, there's been a lot of age regression stuff
Yes.
for a lot of people. I think our age, like I think this is a time when people kind of get back to. Didn't we talk about this last time too?
Yeah, I think we did.
Just getting back to like things that made you happy when you were a child and not hating yourself for it.
Mhm.
So like, go off, queen.
No, so like it's really great. I'm realizing that the one thing I hate about reading is I can't do it fast enough. And so I'll be sitting there like thinking about the book when I'm not reading, but I don't know the story. Like I don't know where it goes, so I like get annoyed.
I get annoyed with reading somebody else's mind, which I think I've mentioned before. Like, I just have a hard time, like, investing myself in somebody else's imagination. Like, unless I feel like it's been expertly done, which, like, what does that even mean? Recently, when I was trapped at my uncle's place, I told both of you about this. I'm not going to even tell this story because it's way too long. I just got trapped in a snowstorm at my uncle's cabin up in the middle of Pennsylvania, and which was nice because I hadn't seen him in a while. It was me, him, and my mom, and I was just reading his books to pass the time at night because, like, he's not big into TV. He watches Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, and that's all he would like to watch, unless it's, like, a special occasion we're watching a movie. But so I was reading a bunch of his books, and he's had a bunch of things, like, for a long time. Like, he collects things. He's got a bunch of cassettes of all of his original, like, favorite stuff. He doesn't have he just recently got a TV. He just recently got a smartphone. Like, most of his stuff is collected. So I was reading this book that was a collection of short fantasies, like, short fantasy stories, which I thought was great, from, like, the 70s. And one of the stories was about a vampire named Edward that comes into
Stephanie, we clocked your ass.
that comes into this woman's therapy practice because his boss at the college that he works at, this is in New York, so maybe it's NYU, I forget. The boss has sent him to the therapy because he was caught like attacking somebody on campus and believes that he is a vampire. So he's been sent to the psychotherapist to help him deal with it. They put him on sabbatical very quietly so that like nobody would find out, and he's just supposed to like get better and move on, and the whole thing like unfurls where like he is actually a vampire, and then this 40-something-year-old woman who like is a professional ends up like having sex with this man who's like not even interested in sex. Like he goes on this whole tangent about how like he just goes out on dates and stuff to like suss out victims, but he's just so not like he can have sex. It was becoming such a 70s story.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, this man who's like not attracted to sex literally at all, but obviously he can still get hard and have sex because he's like gorgeous. And, like, that's what guys do.
Obviously.
He's not into it literally at all, but somehow he still has a boner. Like, it was that, and he just does it because that's how he gets his prey. But then somehow, like, this random 45-year-old woman that's his therapist, like, this is different. So then she's like,
not
let's
like
be
other
bad
girls
together, Edward. And then he's like, you know I don't enjoy sex. And she's like, but do you want to have sex with me? And he's like, yes. And I didn't even get to the end of the story. I read other stories in the book that were way more interesting, and I got like 3/4 of the way through this, and I was like, once I realized she was actually gonna have sex with him, I was like, this is so fucking stupid.
See, that would have been the point where it would have been like zoning in. Like,
I just thought it was so like reductive. I was like,
yeah.
Why would this professional like therapist who's renowned in the city like literally just go? But then again, like if you met a fucking vampire, I haven't yet, so I can't say what I would do.
Who's to say how I would respond
in that situation?
Hey, I don't know.
it just felt very stereotypical to me, and maybe I
Mhm.
had the bias of knowing it was written a long time ago too. I was just like,
Do you
ew.
think Stephanie Meyers read that and then went to sleep and had the dream that inspired Twilight?
Part of me wonders, like, okay, did she read that, or like, is there just this vampire story that we circulate over and over and over again? Like, most vampire stories are sexual. Most vampire stories, even if like sex is not the main thing, like they have a sexual component. Even just the act of
Vampiring?
Vampiracy?
Vamping.
What we do. Because I'm thinking of the word piracy.
Hold on.
Vampiracy.
Vampire
You are stealing
as
something.
a verb.
Vampirism.
Vampirize? A vampire vampires.
Oh my god, we have to show people this.
That doesn't. What? This reminds me. Oh my god, one of my favorite people on TikTok is Vampire Jack. I'm gonna read his book. I can't wait.
Who is this?
Vampire Jack, he is a TikToker.
Okay.
He is a vampire.
Okay, wait. Brittany
Yep.
Broski's into this guy,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, okay, I've heard his name before.
He
this is
comes
what
up on
I'm
my
talking about.
lives.
Vampiring is sexual. Being a vampire, like, we sexualize it. The act of, like, drinking somebody's blood out of their neck,
Yeah.
it's literally just a literary tool to describe sex.
He wrote a book about his vampire life, and I was like, I'm gonna read that book. When I was reading, we've talked about when we read Twilight and how we heavily identified solely because it was just an emphasis on pale people, and it was like, arise.
Yes, being pale was not gross.
Yes.
I still struggle with this to this day. Literally, whenever people are talking about going into the summer and they're like, I'm pasty and I am disgusting. And I'm like, okay.
But you're tanner than me.
Than I will ever be. That's a common thing for people to say. And like, it definitely, my friends had names for me when I was a child because of how pale I was. Like, it's definitely affected my self-worth.
But then Twilight came out, and I stepped into that being a pale girl thing, and I would be like, guys, what if I was a vampire?
Me on AIM texting my friend that when I was about to go over her house and convincing her, trying so hard to convince her that I was a vampire.
Yeah, no, I would like fully like try to like convince people as if that's not the freakiest thing ever. What? It would be like people that I had been friends with for years. So they'd be like, you're magically a vampire now that it's a popular thing? Like, what are you talking about?
What's sickening is to compare, if I had the balls, I would pull up the yearbook photo and, like, we would put it in here, but I don't know if I do, guys. We'll see. I'll try for you. But, like, the year that I was doing this, my yearbook photo, it's when I discovered hair straightening. It's greasy. Let's just put that word out there. I've got braces.
Scene. Yep.
It's in to be dark and moody and pale. So the background that I chose for my yearbook photo, dark purple. Dark purple.
Yeah.
My hair blends into it. My face, no blush.
Right.
No contour.
Right.
I just discovered foundation. I just started doing raccoon eyes. White face. I'm trying to be cool. I'm 12. I want to be cool. Dark background, greasy hair, pale face, weirdest fucking smile on my face. All of this together goes in the yearbook. I open it up, I'm like, my boyfriend, my 12-year-old boyfriend, he's like, it's not great.
I'll be real with you. We're having a PR crisis.
Everyone I know didn't have a lot of friends at that time, but everyone that I did know, they're like,
it's been better.
They're like, you
usually don't look like this.
Yeah, you just to be clear, you don't look like this.
This isn't your typical look. It was around 7th grade, which was my worst physical look by far. 7th grade was just rough. We were not even in the trenches. We were somehow below the trenches, like crawling in the dirt. Like a little rat, and looked like it. Like it showed.
This is okay, but I feel like we both need some healing around this, right? Because,
right.
Like, that girl was just trying so
She
hard.
was doing
was
her
so
best.
anxious.
And so here's the thing. Twilight's all the rave. So she's really leaning into it. I didn't go outside for like a year to like try and get even paler.
crazy.
like vitamin D deficiency level at this point. Like it was intense. And then like when I would have like my picture taken and I would have red eyes, which frequently happens with blue eyes, I'd be like, keep it. Keep it that way because it looks like a vampire.
They're like, this is chilling. You're like, that's the goal.
Like one of those pictures could go on the internet today and be like Momo. I don't know if you ever saw about kids being scared of Momo.
Was Momo like the monster?
I'll show you Momo.
I literally don't want to look because I'm gonna start crying. And I'm gonna ruin my makeup.
Oh my god.
Momo is like a thing that babies were freaking out about. My cousins would talk about how their babies, who were like 2, would be scared of Momo.
Alright, well that's an adult's fault. Whoever
Because I think it was like some asshole on like YouTube like would post like baby content and it would be like a baby video and then he would just put just weirdly attacking like infants.
We're sobbing.
But yeah, so that was very much like the energy.
Imagine like a mom putting on YouTube for her child and then looking over and
It's just shrieking. They don't understand because it was just dancing fruit a minute ago.
I'm crying. Speaking of dancing fruit, my niece, she accidentally like made her Spotify profile. Like Spotify has child like things or whatever, and my Alexa or somehow I don't know something. She ended up making her own like profile for listening to music by accident as a 2-year-old because she just talks to Alexa and asks Alexa for things. So like now it's like Aisling Spotify will come up and she will like Alexa will recognize her voice, but her recognition of her voice is linked to my Spotify account. So I will just be listening to music and then it will just cut to like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star by the Sesame Street band or like super simple songs. That's like the big thing that she listens to. Or I will not be listening to music at all and she will ask for it and it will just start playing on my Alexa. Like upstairs, I will just hear children's music coming from afar. It's like very like la 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 la.
Nightmare.
I'm just like,
she's here. She's in the walls. We're just talking about the books that I was reading.
yeah, right. Okay, so that's what we've been into, guys.
Yeah, so pivoting from that, this is going to be coming out right around Valentine's Day. Are you excited for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I like Valentine's Day, and I think there's this dichotomy that we all feel, right? Of like hating capitalism, but like wanting tradition and like ritual and like holidays in your life. So it's like I oscillate between like feeling very disenfranchised and like everything is very disingenuous and like disingenuous.
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, okay, all right. And then just feeling like, yeah, like I just want to celebrate holidays and I just want to feel nice and like.
I love Valentine's Day. I've always loved it. I think it's so much fun.
Fuck it.
It's always been like one of my favorites. Putting out a paper bag on my desk and having kids give me cards. Awesome.
Generally speaking, red's my favorite color.
Yeah.
So just seeing like roses everywhere, red everywhere. Like I love Christmas for that reason too. Like there's just red everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so pretty.
No, I've always loved Valentine's Day. And that's like as a single person, usually single on Valentine's Day, love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
It did suck as a child.
No, I loved it back then too. I've always loved Valentine's Day. The holiday I don't like.
Hopeless romantic.
The holiday that I think is not fun to be single on is New Year's. Valentine's Day is fun because guess what? You don't have to be near couples. Why would you be with a couple on Valentine's Day?
Sure.
New Year's,
Weird.
you're always around couples on New Year's. And it's also like a boiling pot always, where like you're with these couples and everyone's like setting expectations.
Are you gonna kiss?
And that's usually the one that I don't like to be. But I also just don't like New Year's in general. Because even when I think about being with boyfriends on New Year's, I didn't like it.
Not always fun. Not always fun. Depends on the boyfriend.
Like maybe that's the thing is like I would be with boyfriends, not fun.
I had a boy crying in my lap on New Year's before, and no one loves that.
Yeah.
No one loves.
Like I've definitely had rough New Year's. I always love New Year's when it's very chill.
Yes. Yeah, and I also love I love a New Year's party. I love like buying a ticket and just things being. I love an open bar.
Mm-hmm.
I love all-inclusive food. Love that shit. I've done that before,
Yeah.
and it's honestly, if you can get a good ticket early, it's like actually a pretty good deal. So I've done that before, and that's fun.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
But
I'm the person that loves to just like be alone at a party. Do you know what I mean? Like
yes.
just run amok.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't hate the idea of being alone on New Year's because it's like, what shenanigans can you get into?
This year, I watched Barbie, and at midnight on the dot, it was the part where she's like, "Take my hands, close your eyes, and feel." Sobbed for the first half hour of the new year, and it was beautiful.
Yeah,
I was like,
nice way.
what?
Yeah.
I didn't even plan for it to happen. All of a sudden, it happened, and I heard other people being like, "Happy New Year!" And I was like, this is girlhood.
Wow. See, this is just kids who like felt too shy and too uncomfortable to really experience your girlhood, and then when you're like a young adult, you're like, wait, nothing matters. I don't care about anything else except me and my family. Like I can literally do whatever the fuck I want, and then you're reawakened to
for sure.
all of the fun things.
And I think Valentine's Day as an aesthetic, I adore.
It's cute.
It's so cute. So cute. So I've always loved Valentine's Day.
I do think capitalism, like,
she really
got a fire burning. The call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
But like, it's okay to also find enjoyment. Like, you have to balance between like, hate this reality, and also like, okay, this is my reality. Can I glean some joy from it? So like, I'm into stupid holidays, like whatever, anything to make the passage of time feel more sacred, more fun, more community. Like that is good. Let's just do it. Like even if it's stupid, like just do it. Just shut up and do it.
Yeah.
Everybody just smile. And the mom
with the camera.
It's one day. It's one day. And okay, serial dater as a child. Like my Valentine's days were generally pretty fun. Like I was getting a gift of some kind.
Right. Who could turn down a present?
Have you gotten like really cute Valentine's Day presents before? The face is not making me feel good about this question.
No. I'm just trying to think of gifts I've gotten from boyfriends in general.
Period.
One of my boyfriends, one guy gave me fleas. So, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Is that on you, is my question.
No, it was on him. Because I started to suspect it pretty fast, and he did not. He would come over, and after he would leave, I would have these itchy bumps. And I was like, what is this? And I was like, do I have bed bugs? How would I have gotten bed bugs? From him. So I was like, did he give me bed bugs? And then I was like, I'm like doing all this stuff. I'm checking my mattress. No bed bugs. So I'm like, this is so weird. I got that, this is when I got that weird like diametrous salt or something. It's diametrous earth or something like that. I don't know. It's like a powder that like will kill all bugs. I put it around the entire house because I was convinced I was going to give all my roommates bed bugs from this guy. Continued dating him. I would go into his car, and I would get into his car, and I would immediately become itchy again, and I would have these red marks that were clearly bites. And like, I was like, this is insane. I went to an urgent care because I was worried I was getting scabby, something like that. Wasn't those. Went to the urgent care. They were like, you have eczema. But I was like, okay, whatever. Then like a week later, he calls me on the phone and he was like, I'm so pissed. And I was like, why are you pissed? And he was like, because my sister's cat has fleas and gave me fleas and gave you fleas.
Got the STD call about fleas.
Yeah, like they couldn't live on me is what I like understood. So they could bite me
on his clothes.
Yes, they could bite me, but they couldn't live. So like once he stopped coming around, they were gone. But while we were together, I was getting covered in bumps.
That was just God.
That was literally the universe being like, maybe we should stop.
Here's an idea. Stop seeing this person.
You're covered in red dots. What will you do now? But yeah, so I got that. I got like a music note necklace. I know one time.
I was gonna say the drum heart necklace.
Yeah, I got a music note one because we were musicians.
The little thing that you would wear as a child when you belonged to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Like it was like a gift, but it was.
But it was a branding.
But it was like nobody else can have you, and they'll know it from 6 feet away. And they were often gross.
Yeah.
I did occasionally actually get. There were some sweet people throughout the years who really did.
Yeah.
Like, one of my first boyfriends, we barely hung out, we were children, got me like a really pretty silver bracelet that I still have like tucked away somewhere because it's like valuable and nice. And I was like,
yeah, I got that necklace. I got like blankets, which are like nice, except for I'm pretty sure I like. This is weird, but I peed on them. So I never used them again.
Let's pause and think, do we want to tell this story on the internet?
I don't know. I pissed on him. Not intentionally. It wasn't like an act of revenge.
You saying that sounds like you
I very
were marking your territory.
I very adamantly squatted and peed. No, I like didn't feel good, and I was like wrapped in the blanket and like went to the bathroom and like really didn't pay attention where the blanket was, and then was like, oh, my blanket got pee on it.
Not at all what I thought.
No, it wasn't like a full-fledged like I'm pissing on this blanket kind of thing.
I did get something really beautiful one time. Like I had like a boyfriend that gave me like a heart like case, and on the inside was like a bunch of little notes about like you're beautiful, like you make me smile.
That's like so thoughtful.
Yeah, he would write me notes all the time too. Like,
did you ever have a boyfriend try to sing to you?
Try to sing to me? I was the singer. No.
I mean, they could be a good singer, but
no.
The minute a guy was like, "I'm gonna like sing for you,"
no, right.
I would be like,
"Please don't.
Please don't.
Oh,
please stop. Please stop.
You don't have to."
No. Yeah.
I'd be like, "While I just sit there."
Guys.
Like, because if it was like, I'm gonna be in a concert and like I want you to come see, but it's like
Britney's memoir. Justin Timberlake
sitting on the ground and
as she's aborting her child,
playing the guitar. To have the guitar played at you while you're having
Is Kate aware of this? Kate is not aware of this.
In Britney Spears' memoir, she talks about how she had an abortion when she was with Justin Timberlake. And she did it at home, and she was in the bathroom in a lot of pain, like screaming and crying, on top of the fact that it's just like it was very traumatizing for her. So she's not enjoying, I don't think she even really wanted the abortion, but he did. So she was going through with it. So she's like screaming and crying in so much pain. She wants to go to the hospital, but she can't because then everyone will know that she's having this abortion. And he came into the bathroom and thought that maybe if he sang and played the guitar for her, it would make her feel better. So while she's going through this abortion, he's just strumming along beside her on the ground, singing and playing the guitar.
It reminds me of like a religious thing where like they're having like the exorcism and then like
The pastor's in the corner being like,
goes up
from the grave to the sky.
I had no idea. Like, there's so much connection between all that religious stuff and the vampire stuff we were just talking about, and all the like vampire hunters and like that's a whole thing.
In my town.
It's like a tradition, and it's a very New England thing, and it's tied into the witch hunting thing. Like, there was just this thing of like religious, like people who were close to God, who were capable of like seeking out like witches or vampires.
He was just some high school guy who would walk around in a trench coat and a
child.
fedora.
He was a teen.
And he was slaying the vampires. Guess what? I never ran into a vampire, so he did a good job.
Is exactly what I would expect from a fedora child.
He was saving the day.
And he was playing the saxophone while doing it.
During the day, you could find him in the band room playing the saxophone, and at night, slaying the vampires for our community.
But
That's all I have to say on that
I don't have a
subject.
closing note for you. I mean, we're
No.
still fucking failing.